Hello to and welcome to day 44 of the Liminal Novena, and it's the Sorrowful Mysteries. And today I'm going to invite you into two separate movement practices that you can play with. When we go into the liminal space, often we feel an uncertainty and an unknown. And this has been something that's been prevalent, obviously, in the last few years with COVID. But what happens when we're in that space? Do we take on masks? And do we wear our mask and inhabit certain parts of our personality? All of us in our lives have many layers and many masks. So when we're in this space of uncertainty, do we put our masks on and try to fit in? So I have a few masks in my possession to play with. I'm sure you might lose my voice, but what happens when we put this mask on? And just as um, we might realize that we're covering something, a mask might help us reveal something about our heart's desire or about where we are in ourselves these days. So masks is one thing you can play with, and you can easily make masks out of cardboard. But I'm just going to move around with a couple of masks and see what happens. How does this make me feel? What kinds of movements does it create by wearing this particular mask? And this one's quite beautiful, bringing in the flowers, bringing in the green man, and maybe there's even animal masks that help us really claim our animal nature. So in the Sorrowful Mysteries, we might resort in that space of unknownness and putting on that mask. And what happens when we move with that mask? So that's the first thing you could play with. The second thing is something I did years ago in movement called the Dragon's Gate. But it was done with three movers. So I just have two yoga chairs as my other movers. And I'm going to put them in two different shapes because this is how we did it in movement. And these are two things going on in your life. And again, this can feel like liminal space as you begin to explore one of these shapes. You could use pillows. You can see what that shape holds for you, what kind of meaning it holds, because we're in this kind of transitional state, especially in those sorrowful mysteries where we agonize often what's going to be an outcome of some decision that we might make or what we know is inevitable sometimes. So I put them into two shapes, and then you spend time with each shape. In this case, it's the chair. You could have pillows, or you could do this with two other movers and see what happens. And so I'm playing within this gateway. I'm playing within this challenging gateway of releasing my masks at this point and wondering what I'm going to inhabit next. And can I hold on to not knowing the uncertainty? And what happens as I play between these two objects? And I'm doing this a little bit quicker than what you might do. Like right now, I've just found my connection between the two objects. And this is kind of our Dragon's Gate. How do we take on these challenges and then step in through the gate? So again, you can do this much longer than I just did, but it's just a way to play with some of those challenges. Do we find ourselves in this uncertainty, putting on different masks, trying to fit in, trying to blend in, trying to hide, trying to be unique? How do we play with that? And with our Dragon's Gate, trying on two different challenges in our lives, making them in two different shapes. Do we find support? Do we find a pushing forward? Do we find that we need to hold back and maybe stay within it and find safety? And then what happens when we embrace what's inevitable and what might be really challenging and difficult? How do we not look away? So thank you. Namaste and have a beautiful day.